Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Microsoft Pulse webcast, where we go over the roadmap so you don't have to. We now have our our trio here that appears most of the time. We've got myself, Tom, got Matthew, and we've got Tamara. So, what we do is, if you haven't been part of these in the past, is we go through the roadmap that we have in Excel form and we cover the items that are in development, which means that Microsoft is working on rolling them out to everybody. Then we go into rolling out, which means they're starting to push it out to the tenants to which it's supposed to go to. So commercial, GCC, GCC high, or DoD. Then finally, we have launched, which means if this change was coming to your particular tenant type, then you should have it by now. Occasionally, we do have cancellations, and in this case, we do have a few cancellations on this one, so we'll cover those at the end. But let's go ahead and get started. Matthew, would you like to lead us off?
Yeah, we're gonna get started with security right away. I love it. So I've got three items in development. The first one is related to Microsoft Purview Compliance Portal. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. This is related to the Service Health Dashboard. So this is Microsoft giving administrators more locations to understand the health of their environment, specifically as it relates to Purview compliance related items. The Service Health Dashboard is rolling out. I'm sorry, it's in development. It's set to release in March of this year. And this is coming only to standard worldwide tenants. So unfortunately, if you are in a more secure tenant than that, you will likely get this feature at some point in the future. But for now, unfortunately, it's not for you. Second is Microsoft Purview Insider Risk Management, ability to create cases without content in IRM. This is another item that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. It's in development, and it is set for a May 2026 release timeframe. But I'm happy to announce this one is not only coming to standard worldwide tenant, it's also coming to GCC, GCC High, and DoD. And this release essentially is an update to the ability to create insider risk management cases within Microsoft Purview and an increase in the limit of the number of cases. The new case limit will be 2,000, and the ability to create cases within that system without having to link it to specific content. This will allow you to create a higher level case to do investigations within, potentially before you have direct content to link within the case. So you can start those cases without having content already. You can start your investigation and collect content as you go throughout that investigation. Lastly, I'm going to venture out of Purview just for a minute. I'm going to touch on, let's be honest, my first Microsoft love, SharePoint. For those of you who may know me, I was a SharePoint administrator for a very, 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 very long time. So I want to talk about in SharePoint, new admin policy for expiring people in your organization links. I know we touched on this one in a previous episode as well. This is set to release in June of this year, and this is coming to worldwide standard tenants, GCC, GCC High, and DoD. And not just SharePoint, it's also coming to OneDrive as well for anyone who's ever dealt with permissions management in SharePoint. Essentially, anything that comes to SharePoint is also in OneDrive when it comes to permissions management, because if you ever adjusted the little sliders in the SharePoint Admin Center, there's a certain level of one has to be at least the same level or higher than the other. It gets a little confusing there. But this is going to give admins, SharePoint admins, the ability to specify a default expiration timeframe for those people in your organization links. You can set it to either one of the Microsoft defined periods, which it looks like might be 30 or 90 days, and you'll be able to specify a custom period. Now, I want to take 1 second and I want to outline why this is important. Microsoft gives you a lot of different ways to share documents from SharePoint Online and OneDrive. You can create anyone links, which literally anyone with that link, whether they are part of your organization or not part of your organization, can access. You can create these all organization links. You can create direct share links, and you can create a special kind of link called a sharing link, which doesn't get confusing at all with the rest of the terminology. These people in your organization links essentially give anyone in your company with that link the ability to open that link and access that content. That's good in some scenarios, but leaving those out there forever and a day without closing those off can potentially create gaps in your security. And as we think about things like Copilot and searching for documents, it can create an over-permission challenge within your organization. I am so happy to see Microsoft releasing this feature that will give you the ability to say, hey, you can do an all org link, but you can only have it available for 30 days, and then we're going to expire it. And maybe if you need that org link to persist, you have to recreate it and reshare the content or whatever your company's policies might be. But I love anytime we see Microsoft taking security within SharePoint and OneDrive seriously and giving admins the new ability to manage that sharing in a more granular way so your organization can meet your own security goals and Microsoft can help facilitate that.
Yeah, I mean, Copilot has really brought those kind of things to the forefront. So it's one thing to say, oh, these are problems, but it's a little different to say, and we've given you a way to fix them. And now they have. So that's really awesome.
Yeah, I very frequently spend a chunk of my time researching overshared content, sensitive content within SharePoint Online and OneDrive to ensure that we are protecting the sensitive data that we need to protect. So I'm always happy when Microsoft gives us more ability to manage that.
Yay. I'm assuming you're done with your 3.
I'm done with my 3. That's all I have for this section.
Okay, in which case I'll roll it out to my wife, Tamara.
Hello. So we've got SharePoint update to news page in SharePoint sites. So the news page renders news items in a given site. Now, it's typically accessed through the see all experience of the news web part. Microsoft is updating the user experience of this page and bringing it in Copilot capabilities to licensed users. Now, this was updated on February 9th, and it's going to be a general rollout in late February. And it's going to everybody, GC or commercial, GCC, GCC High, and DoD.
I'll be interested to see what they do with Copilot on that one.
Yeah. And then in Teams, we've got a couple pieces of love for town halls. Microsoft Teams Secure Reliable Transport, or SRT, support for Teams town halls. What this means is it is going to allow you'll have a network protocol designed to deliver high quality, low latency video across the public internet. And that's coming out in March, but just to the worldwide tenant. And then we've also got backup RTMP support for Teams town halls. And what this allows you to do is the RTMP stream, it will keep a live broadcast running in the event of an interruption with the main stream. That means if somebody accidentally closes or shuts down the town hall, before that was it, you were done. Now you're able to go back and grab it again. So I'm excited about that. And then Microsoft Teams book future meetings directly from the Teams panels. So you'll soon be able to make an upcoming meeting reservation from a Teams panel by browsing the calendar on the device and choosing any open time slot through midnight the next day. Add a guest during booking, streaming ad hoc scheduling and coordination. This is going to be available in Teams Rooms Pro and shared device licenses, and that comes out in April. And then the one that I think is very important to the tenant I hold dear, and that is Microsoft Teams sensitivity label inheritance for meeting recordings. So meeting recordings will automatically inherit the meeting sensitivity label. When the label inheritance is enabled in sensitivity label policies, a labeled meeting applies the same label to the MP4 recording, ensuring access controls, data handling rules, and Copilot or agent responses based on transcripts consistently respect the meeting sensitivity end to end. Now, that's just coming out to commercial in April, but I'm very excited about that. That is going to save people so much time.
I also
All
think,
right.
Tamara, that
Yeah.
closes a little bit of a gap, because I believe, and I don't know if and when Microsoft is up to this, originally you could not label an MP4 file at all. So this is a nice feature that allows an expanded functionality for those sensitivity labels, which only helps people understand what the heck is going on with their data.
Yeah, that's great. All right, Tom, those were a few of my favorite things. What's yours?
Okay, so I'm going to basically all Copilot all the time here. I'm going to touch on one to begin with that's not related to about the following 15 that I'm going to cover at a really high level, because apparently Copilot with PowerPoint caught a ton of attention and love this time around. So we're just going to touch on those. And it's funny because for each of these, there's like 2 or 3 entries that look exactly the same.
Yes.
Yes. And I'm like, whoa, okay. Important. I don't know what the differences are, but they're different numbers. So we'll start though with one that I think is really cool, and that is built-in AI interpreter for calls on Teams phone devices. So with an AI interpreter, Teams phone devices provide real-time language interpretation directly within the call experience. Users can participate naturally on multilingual conversations while the device interprets spoken audio, reducing language barriers and supporting cleaner communications or clearer communications in everyday calling scenarios. At first, I thought that said clever, and I'm like, clever conversation? Okay, don't get it. But then I read a little closer. So I think that is really cool. Real time AI generated interpretation on calls instead of you having to go through having somebody do it for you and give you the information. I think that is really cool. Now, PowerPoint, Copilot. Hang on. Here we go.
Buckle up.
Buckle up, folks. So, agent mode in PowerPoint, and this is kind of the overall thing, and then the other ones get much more bulleted here. They let you create, edit, and refine presentations through natural conversations directly in your presentation. You can start a new presentation or build on an existing one, asking Copilot generate slides, update content, improve layouts, and polish design while preserving formatting, structure, and branding. Uses your files, meetings, emails, and more to help shape content, iterate quickly, and it connects to your brand kit so you can have branded templates, which is really nice too. You can do all this for Copilot licensed users coming out in March for the worldwide tenant. Then we get all these ones that look identical with minor little variations. One is create presentations with Work IQ using agent mode in PowerPoint. So this basically is going to, using Work IQ, grabs all your presentations, grabs your files, the whole bit, gets all those things for you automatically. Then we have create executive summary slides with agent mode in PowerPoint. So if you need that executive summary slide to let the executives know what you just tried to tell them for the last hour, you're going to be able to do that with a polished draft that highlights the key points. Then we go on to attach and reference an image when creating a presentation. You'll also be able to reference a Teams meeting or chat when creating the presentation. Need more? Reference an email when creating a presentation. And oh, you can reference the content of a PowerPoint file when creating a presentation. Yeah, you think we're done? No, we're not. You can go ahead and reference web pages when creating presentations. What else might you need? Well, why don't you try referencing SharePoint libraries and OneDrive folders when creating the presentation? And oh, while you're at it, reference web pages when creating a presentation in agent mode. Are we done? Pretty much with that one, yes. So basically, you're going to be able to do just about anything you want in PowerPoint using and bringing in various pieces that pertain to that. I think this is great because in my head, PowerPoint Copilot has the potential to just do amazing things. And to date, it's always seemed to be not quite there. So I'm really hoping with the whole agent mode in PowerPoint that it's going to get it to do the kind of things that you were hoping that it would do for you to begin with. So those are coming up anywhere from April through June. Keep an eye open, and they are going all to worldwide standards. So all the more secure environments are going to have to wait a little bit more. They are going to do Copilot in OneDrive. It's going to be a new unified chat experience. They don't go into any real details, but it's supposed to make working with your files simpler, smarter, and more seamless across Office 360 or Microsoft 365. So that's coming out to standard in April. Then they talk about agent mode again in PowerPoint, which is like duplicate of everything we just discussed before. And at the very, very end, completely unrelated to PowerPoint, is infinite scroll chat history. So infinite scroll enables users to continually scroll older browser sessions by automatically loading additional conversations as they scroll. This creates a smoother, more modern chat history experience. So instead of like load more, it just keeps giving you the additional information as you get to the bottom of the screen. That's coming out in March for worldwide tenant. So I just covered about 18 entries in about 3 minutes. So yay me.
All right, take a deep breath.
Thank you. Anybody else want to cover anything else that was in development?
Nope.
Okay, let's roll on to rolling out then, Matthew. What do you have for security?
I have nothing.
Tamara, what do you have for rolling out?
I've got a couple.
Okay.
Microsoft Teams new workflow app experience in Teams and SharePoint. So the new workflow app is to provide an experience that is both simpler and faster to enable everyday Teams and SharePoint users to create automations in 3 steps or less. So this reminds me of that 3-step workflow that used to be in oldie time days SharePoint. So this item is still in development for production release, and we apologize for any inconvenience, and yet it's still in rolling out for February. Then we've got Microsoft Teams update user labels to show familiarity with external users. So trust indicators are visible badges next to the external users in Microsoft Teams that show a person's trust level. I imagine playing video games where you have to make trustworthy decisions in order to level up your badge. That's not how it works. They help you quickly see if someone is internal, external, a guest, or anonymous, because having no name would not clue you into anonymous. This lets you collaborate confidently with users from external organizations and avoid sharing sensitive information with the wrong audience. And that's coming out to the commercial tenant. And finally, Outlook. Open and send Outlook file templates. So Microsoft is introducing the ability to open and send OFT files, Outlook file templates, on mobile. This feature allows users to view and open OFT files as draft messages, so users can easily reuse their Outlook email templates. This is great if you have to respond in the same way to particular requests over and over and over throughout the day. This is a great use for the OFT files. And that's coming out for everybody, commercial, GCC, GCC High, and DoD. Tom, what do you like?
I got 4 items. Should be able to cover them fairly quickly. If you happen to use ServiceNow and Copilot, admins are now going to be able to edit user mappings and query filters for the ServiceNow connector. So that's something that apparently you haven't been able to do in the past. You're now going to be able to do that, which will make using Copilot and ServiceNow together probably a whole lot smoother and a lot more powerful. Then we have Copilot searches matches on people's department. So when you're doing Copilot search, now you're going to be able to match on a person's department. So if your department is accounting, you could search for accounting for department, and you're going to find all the people who happen to be in that particular department. I think that's rather cool if you're looking to find out, hey, who all is in this area. So that's coming out in February to the worldwide.
And that's also going to depend on how updated your Active Directory is. Because if your Active Directory is like most places where I've worked, it's hit or miss.
You'll love this,
Consistency leaves
Matthew.
Something to be desired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time we have this discussion, she goes, well, yeah, but Active Directory is never accurate. I said, ours is. She just looks at me and goes, you're the only company I've ever heard say that. Like, yeah, they keep it really clean and up to date and fed with all the different other things that feed it. So yeah, that would work really well for us. Then Microsoft Copilot, find exactly what you need faster. So now you can filter your search as you type, use person and source filters right in the search box to refine search results instantly. Get smart suggestions and see only what matters, all without leaving the box. So that's coming out in February to worldwide. And then the final one, and I think this is really cool because I like how they're bringing voice into Copilot more and more now.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is use voice for Q&A during read aloud in Word. So you can interact in real time with read aloud in Word with Copilot. While your document's being read to you, you can ask questions with your voice, such as, what does this mean? Summarize this section, and get answers instantly. No need to pause and search manually. This keeps you in context, reduces interruptions, and helps you understand and act faster. Really looking forward to trying this one when it comes out, because I think that'll be a really cool feature if you like using read aloud. That would be your caveat on that one. So anything else for rolling out? We know Matthew doesn't have anything.
No?
Okay, let's go ahead and go on to launch. There's only 4 items in here. Matthew, you want to tell me you don't have anything for launched?
No, I don't want to tell you that because I do have 2 items.
Yay, that's half of them.
And I know, right? I will bucket them together. They're both related to Purview Data Security Investigations module. I talked about these, I think, only 2 or 3 weeks ago because they were in rolling out at the time. They have rolled out. One of them is the introduction of the in-product cost estimator and the transparency report. And the other one is the introduction of the new AI analysis capabilities. These essentially allow you to get a better understanding of what services in Azure and other spaces within your Microsoft tenant might cost you, and give the ability to better analyze some of the data security investigations you might do with some AI tools. These both launched this month, and they came to standard worldwide tenant.
Cool.
That's it. There's half of your launched, Tom.
Okay.
Who's going to fight over the other
I've
2?
got nothing. So go ahead, Tom.
Okay, I'll touch on a couple here. One is Outlook, support for auto-expanding archives. So auto-expanding archives are a component that provides customers
Easy for you to say.
Apparently not. Provides customers the ability to grow their mailbox archives over the normal 100 gigabyte quota limit. So that's coming out to regular standard and GCC high. It should be out. It says launch for March, but apparently it's out early now, so that's cool. And then the other one that I think is really interesting, I would love to get it turned on in our environment, and that is Microsoft Copilot People Skills, expanded AI inferencing for E3, E5 users. And this kind of goes back to where I said earlier, where we're seeing more and more uses where Copilot-ish type features are being allowed for people who don't have Copilot licenses, and this is one of them. So People Skills is expanding AI-powered skill inferencing to include E3, E5 licensed users. Previously, AI-powered skill inferencing was only available to Copilot and Viva licensed user. With this update, admins will have the option to turn on AI-powered skill inferencing to E3, E5 license directly in the Microsoft Admin Center. AI-powered skill inferencing uses AI to automatically identify and update skills on users' Microsoft 365 profiles based on their work activity from the Microsoft Graph. This control will be available to tenants with Copilot licenses. I think this is really cool because in the past, you've been able to list your skills. And much like the nobody has an up-to-date Active Directory type thing that Tamara was talking about, nobody goes out and lists their skills and keeps them up and makes them accurate and makes them consistent. It just doesn't ever happen. So this is going to be nice in the fact that it will go out and say, oh, it looks like Tony is good at XYZ. And then you can say, okay, who else in the corporation is good at X? And it can then list those people, and then you can drill down to see where that person works and see what they're good at in addition to skill X. I think this is just really cool. Plus, what it will allow you to do is you can go out and actually look at your profile card and edit it to see, okay, are there some skills I want to take off of there? Or are there some skills I want to add that didn't show up? So I think, again, being able to do a search for who is good at purview compliance, blah. And it can say, okay, here are the 5 people you should talk to for that. And then you can drill down and start to look at those things. I think that is invaluable in an organization to be able to find out what you need to know, especially if you don't have all those, connections that you've built up over the years to say, oh, I know person X does Y. So this is really cool. I want to work on getting it turned on in our environment. That was really about it for launched. We do have 3 cancellations here, and I will go ahead and run through those quickly. Copilot, one click to create a FAQ page based on content in Copilot Notebook. As of January 29th, they are no longer moving forward this release, and they do apologize for any inconvenience. Then we had one click to create a brief page based on content in Copilot Notebook. Guess what? January 29th, we are no longer moving forward with this release, and they once again apologized for this inconvenience. Microsoft Viva Copilot Impulse follow-ups for Glint surveys. This apparently is no longer accurate and is being removed from the roadmap. And once again, they apologize for any inconvenience. The final one that they have is Microsoft Teams multiple phone number assignments to a single user on Teams phone devices. They are not releasing this feature at this time. We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause. With the way they phrase that, this is something you may still get in the future. You're just not going to get it in April like they have noted in the release portion of that particular entry. So I think that pretty much covers everything that was on the roadmap. Any other comments from the peanut gallery here?
Or salt.
Or some poor salt. Oh, Tamara, you always have the great things to say here. Well, with that, everyone, thank you so much for joining us and giving us some of your time. And we will hopefully see you again next week. I was going to say next Tuesday, but no, because we put it out there and you get to watch it whenever you want to. So you'll have another episode next week, though. Yeah. So with that, everyone, have a good rest of your Tuesday, rest of your week, and we will see you again later. Bye, everyone.
Bye now.